Am I recording at all? Okay, I am. Okay, so the first concept is, okay, is about selecting the control point, because we realize that we have many control points and they're really, really messy. So last time I forgot, there's way to, because they're like webs, you would see them more clear on some kind of flat surface, you know, more than the three-dimensional surface. They go by X and Y, sorry, U and V. So which one has, so this one has a little bit of structure, right? So surface, select one and turn on the control point. This one is not the one, this one is the one that doesn't have many before rebuild. So let me remind you, I don't make it mandatory, but I really want you to play on rebuild, because if you don't rebuild, you have a very simple surface. You have a donut that has 4 control points. You have a, you know, you don't have a much potential to play with the real beauty of Rhino. So do use rebuild, and rebuild is somewhere here on the surface. You know, the first little hammer man is rebuild. Yeah, so use this. You know, a lot of times just click enter and click enter. You know, well, one thing is important is this has to set to 3. So if some of you watched the lecture, if you this one set to 1, then this rebuild is meaningless. 1 means straight, like in terms of line, 1 means straight. 2 start to have a little bit of curviness, and 3 is free curviness. So since we wanted the free curviness, we always pretty much set this one U and V into 3 and the control point. You know, maybe we don't want 10, because now let's say there appear to be too many. So we can rebuild both ways. We can rebuild to increase the numbers of control point or reduce the number of control points. So here is 10, that's the existing condition. So maybe I rebuild as 5. So there's a fewer. So if I check on that and see it, there are fewer of them, right? So this one is the control point. But going back, I like the 10 situation. That will show a little bit more sophistication. Now go back on the, okay, for this situation, turn on the control point. You know, they're actually U and V, but we can consider them X and Y. Here is your X and here is your Y. You know, so it's not very easy. I mean, try not to be situation like, you know, one is over the other. You know, it's just a little bit messy, and try not to, so that you lost the control or understanding about them. So what I forgot is I need to teach you absolutely, especially when you start to play with the control point. If Carmina missed this, you didn't miss much. You already had very interesting, you know. I don't see excellency at this moment, but I almost say excellency because you've done earlier than everybody else. I think I didn't pay a full attention. So you finished. So this one is this little lasso. I think I showed you under select, under lasso. I did show you lasso. Lasso means, you know, but basically, you know, somehow you know, select the drawing a border, but the lasso can be expanded, which was the one that I forgot. And by the way, I think there's select the previous means somehow means deselect, because I'm using Mac. My deselect didn't work as well. So if you are to, there's a way that you can deselect using maybe select previous. So here is select U and V. We first have to select one control point, and we go to the select, and we go to the lasso, and we expand it on it, and we can select UV. Oh, okay, select surface. Okay. So here is, you know, so basically what you see is this one select everything on the same row. Do we all understand this? So instead of doing them one by one, you're doing them all together. Do we all understand this? Especially when they're out of a place, and especially they're in the three-dimensional situation. And then you can also select the V, I think maybe no. So anyway, this is only to select U, but you can also select the V, I think. In that situation, you select, see, did you see it? Whenever my mouse hovers over, so when I'm done, I selected the U based on UV. Do we all understand? Understand this? This is quite essential, especially when you have, yeah, situations like this one, you know? Okay, so ignore that one. Come back to a situation like this, you know, here, because they're quite confused, so it's very difficult to select, even like, you know, in the same circle. So this then becomes, I'll just demonstrate one to you. Okay, we'll want to select some kind of inner circle of this shape. So we can select UV, okay, but I need to first make sure one of them is selected. And if anyone that is your good friend that you know that cannot do much during my lecture, do remind them to go back and watch the demo. So, okay, so select surface. Okay, and basically I'm selecting this, but I don't want to really, I mean, I don't feel like this direction is a problem to select. I'll switch to the U direction. So in that case, I'm selecting C. I'm selecting, in this case, everything, they're already messed up. I'm selecting everything in the same circle to begin with. Yeah, so for example, if I want to do a 2D scale, I should go to a vertical surface. Yeah, and see, before I was struggling selecting them and couldn't do it, you know, so go back to a 2D scale. And if I do that, see, I'm actually controlling the control point that I wanted to control. So that this one select, which I think is quite important since I forgot. And there's also, you know, other ones, you know, we can select UV and we can select the individually U and V. And there are a couple of them. I mean, I think the select UV, the one that I demonstrate, is probably more than sufficient. So yeah. So seamless pattern. Okay, another thing is seamless pattern. Okay. Seamless pattern is this, you know, when we create a pattern, okay, any pattern, we have something like this. We have, you know, maybe we have a star. Maybe I want it to be more controlled, so I'm going to snap to the center of the circle and snap to the quad of the circle as well. So my star is not random. My star is actually, you know, star of 5 sides, and also a star to be based on orthographic. No, orthographic is not what I wanted. Some shift, yeah. So maybe, you know, so my star, no, not like that. So it's all cool. Okay, let's say my star is in this situation. So my circle is cut, and I'm going to generate a surface, and then I'm going to create a pattern. So I know there's two overlapping. So if I select this one and I select a planar surface, remember that one? Not this here, called the planar surface, which somehow will fill the hole, or will fill the shape without the hole. So let's see what this one is really all about. Oh, they're not trimmed. Okay, undo. I needed to, I cannot really do. I actually, let me just do I'll just do a planar surface and somehow trim them off. There might be easier way of doing it. Okay, and somehow I would have to trim them off, or do a Boolean actually in this case, you know. So if I do a Boolean, Boolean can operate on, by the way, Boolean the difference can operate on surface as well. To subtract with the Boolean, select to subtract from. Maybe I make a copy of this. Basically just you make a control C and command C and command C and command V. So one of them is little struggle about the basic skills. Okay. Boolean, select surface to Boolean from, subtract, enter, and select this one to subtract. Okay, so we done the Boolean. I made this. So I want to make multiple of it. And I want to have a little bit of thickness. So it's not flat. I think the best way, I mean, there are two ways of doing it. You could first, if I just want a flat, and then I somehow flow onto another surface, I can do it. But if I want to create a depth, you can create here right now. So by, of course, select the surface and then go to, I go to solid and go to extrude the surface and straight. So I give a little bit of thickness to it somewhere in, so no, not the curve. The surface, I think here better. Okay, wait, where is it? Where is the extrusion? This one. Okay, extrude curve. No, go to surface, extrude surface. I mean, there are two. Okay, extrude curve. No, solid. Extrude surface. Okay, this one. This is okay. This one. Press enter, and where is it? To give a little bit of height. Okay, you can do it now. You can do it before you make copies and flow. I mean, you should always make, if you make a you make a pattern, you need to sort of make it, hide those things as a good habit. So nothing else but two of the solids in there. Okay, so extrude, but you can also first flow. You flow already on a surface, and then you extrude. But you needed to I don't think that would be extremely easy. There might be problems because you don't want to do them one by one. You don't want to cut the hole one by one. If you found yourself doing something repetitively, like over and over and over again, you have done the process wrongly, because someone is smart that has already figured out the software designers. They don't want to kill the designers by clicking and doing the same. So they have ways of doing it. So of course we don't want to finish the pattern and then we cut the hole one by one. So now let's do a repeat. We already have the shape. We have the shape, and I'm going to repeat. I'm doing a matrix, right? I do the matrix. No, I needed to talk to you a seamless pattern. Okay, I need to first do the pattern actually. I think I'm okay to do this. I may not even want this. Actually move this. I might need it to, so that's just something is unrelated to this one. Here is it's just the process. Here is our pattern. So the pattern, we want to wrap this with a repetition, and wrap this into onto a surface with no seam, which means when they match together, they actually match. I know Magdalene already talked about when she was doing it in the 311, but we needed to understand this, make sure X 20, Y, let's say 20, Z, we don't care, 1. Okay, so what? This would be an interesting pattern. Let's say this is my pattern. I probably should also do some trimming. You know, if I intended for this part also to be trimmed, I also need to trim. So here is a quite a sophisticated pattern. And this pattern may by itself actually work in terms of when they meet. But there are also patterns. So this pattern actually do meet, because when we see this part, because when they wrap around this edge has to join this edge, and this edge is all the circles, and this edge is out the other side. So they actually, this one is a seamless. So this one has no problem to be a seamless, but sometimes they're not. Especially when some of you like the freedom of shapes, you know, you're doing. Right. So some of you like a pattern like who knows what, a little wiggly thing. And the next one is, you know, next one is this, because you like the free shape. And the next one is this, you know, and there's all of this, I mean, a little bit here, you know. So this shape, if we want to repeat, and how do we, I mean, we can somehow make, I mean, if we draw something as a base, we know when we repeat, you know, here's a lot of gap and here's a lot of gap. When we actually repeat, we see like one, you know, like we see them individually rather than togetherness. So if I do a matrix, if I make 5 and 5, and if the space is big enough, well, what you see is one by one, you know, you see them with a big space in between, and you don't like that. Maybe you like them to be together. So I don't need this. So if that's the case, what we do is that here is a trick. Do a rectangular, if that's the base surface, and do a let's say do something like this. It can be different though. It doesn't have to be, you know, make my life a little easier. Okay. But you go home and figure out what's the best way. And I'm only going to do left and the right. The top and the bottom is the same way that we can match. So what happened is here is this shape. We will trim off the rest, and then let me hopefully be able to demonstrate. We'll trim off this, and we'll also trim off this. So we know when they meet, they actually, this edge, which is this distance here, and this edge is this distance. When they meet together, they don't, they actually don't, if we wrap around, it's like a mirror image type of thing. What happened is you would actually see, do a mirror image, which is under move, the mirror image with the middle point. Select object to mirror, press enter, middle. Okay, so what happened is this one, when they wrap around, it requires a shape like this. So this shape right here requires, change to a different color so that you would see. This shape requires, this red requires the same red to meet, so that when we wrap around, they will actually meet. It's not this one, you know. So what we do is we maybe, let's say, let me move this one out a little bit. You know, even with any you know, so you eventually will understand. I mean, if you practice, you would actually. I move this one out, and I actually I still want maybe that little shape I probably should not and remove some of this so that they don't bother me. Okay, you probably still need that shape or whatever. So you hopefully you didn't, you know. So what happened is if you have a situation like this, then when they you know, you have this shape right here, you amend, you sort of patch it up so that we also don't need this, we need the bigger one, starting, actually take this one, starting from here. Or somehow I know you know better the smart track more than me, because the smart track seems to be a new thing after. Anyway, you know what I mean. I just want to snap to the corner to make a rectangular. As my mouse is getting crazy. Let me see. I think that's a smart track thing. Be a little patient. Get to the point. I have too many control points that I'm snapping to a lot of things. So snapping only to the end. Yeah. So this time is a little more, it's a little bit more. Okay, I'm struggling with something really fundamental because I think my laptop is slow. So I'm not going to worry about it. I might just do another one, you know, using bigger. So now this pattern is seamless. So how many of you understood so far? Raise your hand. If you're not following, I don't blame you, but you know, if you are following and you totally understand, you know, the pattern need to match. You know, give me some confidence for those who, thank you. Yeah, for those who are absolutely busy for other stuff, you know, bring occupied, no problem. Okay, so that's a seamless pattern. Okay, another thing is I want to do, what time is it? I need to give myself enough time, and you as well. Okay, not even 10:30, so yeah, I can do it. Another thing is how do we properly use guidelines? For example, I have a cube. I have many cubes probably here and there. I can probably use them, but no, let's just do a cube. Or I have some shapes in there. No, I will do a cube. I don't really. So for example, I use the midpoint. I remember last time we have some kind of a wiggly stuff, or maybe even near, so that they snap to any points that's near the edge. So I'll make it wireframe. Actually, not really wireframe, but really I need the line more than the shape. So I'm going to generate the edges using, last time I actually did teach you using the surface edge. Select, is it possible? No, no. I think not to worry, just use wireframe so that you see the edges. So if we want to do something three-dimensionally, like a little snake, but three-dimensionally, you know, tangling together, this is what we do. We're using a shape. I'm snapping to it. If I do this, if I do that, if I do that, if I come back to here, and if I go here, and if I go here, if I come back to here, if I come back to, I don't know if they actually do, but with dragging control point, eventually they would. So now I'm doing a kind of a weirdo, you know, three-dimensional line. I don't need this one, but with a little bit of playing of control point, you'll be able to generate that, you know. Yeah. So are we all good for those who are you know, in case you're wondering? So we try to use something that we already have and use that as a guideline for us. And you know, there are many ways of using guidelines. Yeah, sum up. Okay, so that's basically very good. I don't want to take too much of your time, and I'm pretty much done. I'd like to ask Professor Haitham to just, but before I let him to speak, I want to say, you know, although I said the words that that is from me, but it's actually from both of us, you know, because I don't know, although Haitham, Professor Haitham is kind of a little bit new to the department. I don't know him not well. He's rather a quiet man, but I do think I know him better than some of the people I've been working with for years and years, because I saw so much kindness from him, you know. So I know I took the floor to speak on behalf of both of us. He didn't share my cheating story. That's what he didn't share. But otherwise, he shares all the rest. But anyway, I like him to you know, just you know, just say a few things before we get into the craziness of the semester. Yeah, Haitham, please.
Thank you, Leon. I think you said it all. I'm quite happy and impressed of seeing students taking whatever tutorial you give them to a next level. They don't just stick to what the tutorial provide, but rather they experiment. I've seen so impressive work there. I even was surprised to see certain works that really is an excellent level of execution. This software that the Professor Diane is teaching, it's one of the strongest software in the market. And with my humble experience in building information modeling and using software in design and construction, that software changed the whole perception about creating irregular shapes. In the past, to create irregular shape, it takes a lot of power from machines, from people who really have patience to create these kind of forms. But Rhino made it super duper easy. Um, and I said it before to a couple of you guys that this software won't end here, or any other software that we taught you here. It won't end in this class. It's gonna continue. And it's your responsibility to really further practice and practice and practice in order to really take control on the software, but not the software take control of you. I'm so happy with this class. I'm so happy the way how we run the class. So also thankful to teach with the Professor there for first time.
And thank you very much. I don't know how much I want to thank you, because I might hate you if you make me teach AutoCAD, which that's the most thankful part from me to Professor Haitham, because he took something that someone don't like it. You know, you don't see that many people doing that, and I might fail on that task myself. So you just don't know how much I thank him, and truly he has a beautiful personality.
Appreciate
Not to praise you, to tell the truth, truthfully.
I'm really appreciate. Unfortunately, this batch in particular, every time I'm trying to really meet every one of you, something happened. Like now, we can't see you until the next semester, and hopefully, we won't continue the the remote teaching because I'll be teaching you next semester. Perhaps, hopefully, it won't be just a remote. Teaching, because to be honest with you, I'm kind of guy I really like to interact with my students, you know, work with them, help them out. You know, remote teaching is good it has certain advantages, but there are certainly disadvantages, and one of them is just not really feel you guys and, you know, help you out more in that regard. But anyway, that's what I have to say. Thank you so much, Professor Lihan, and thank you guys for being here and taking a step further for this in this class. Well done.
Yeah. Thank you, all of you, Professor Haytham, and you know, and all of you as well, to be patient with both of us. Yeah. Yeah. Let's stop this one and stop with